apprentice sneaked into my room while I was taking a nap. I mistakenly thought he was my husband and tried my best to cooperate, making me extremely happy. After waking up, I was dumbfounded. Hello, everyone. I am Dudu. Today, I must talk to you about the strange experience of digging my toes out of the three-bedroom, one living room apartment a few days ago. The embarrassment level is simply beyond the sky. When I think about it now, I am so embarrassed that I wish I could disappear on the spot. That day, it was no different from usual. After lunch, sleepiness came like a tide, and I couldn't stop. My husband went out to work early in the morning, and I was the only one left at home, quiet and peaceful. It was a good time to take a nap. I fell asleep in a daze and had a very beautiful dream. In the dream, my husband and I were on vacation at the beach, and a gentle sea breeze was blowing on my face. It was so comfortable. I was sleeping soundly, and in a trance, I felt someone enter the room. At that time, I was still half asleep and half awake. My mind was a mess, and I subconsciously thought that my husband came back from get-off work early. I was still thinking in my heart, why did this guy come back so early today without saying hello in advance? But I didn't think much about it after all. He was my husband, so I continued to sleep with my eyes closed. But who could have thought that what happened next would directly pull me out of my dream, completely awake and completely dumbfounded? I felt that person approach quietly and then sat on the edge of the bed. Then a hand slowly reached out, first gently brushed my forehead, and the fingers slid down along my brow bone, and when they touched my eyelids, the movement paused, and then carefully stroked my cheek. The touch of the fingertips was a little warm stroking from the cheek to the chin, and gently tapping. I was half asleep and half awake, and I subconsciously rubbed against his arms, mumbling, "Honey, why are you back so early today?" After saying that, I didn't wait for a response and squinted my eyes again. Then his hands began to move more intimately, slowly moving from my neck down and across my shoulders. Although I felt that my husband's enthusiasm today was a bit abnormal, I was confused and just thought that he was in a good mood because of work, so I half-heartedly cooperated. His fingers were rubbing back and forth on my body, from lips to chest, slowly down to private parts. His fingers made me extremely happy. In this gentle caress, I gradually felt it and began to respond to him slowly. But after a while, I suddenly realized that something was wrong. My husband always had a faint scent of laundry detergent, but now what lingered at the tip of my nose was a strange perfume. I was almost awake and my heart clicked, and I had an ominous premonition. I slowly opened my eyes, and I was so scared that I almost screamed. The person sitting beside the bed was not my husband, but my apprentice. In an instant, my brain froze, and my eyes were wide open, staring at him. He was also startled by my sudden opening of his eyes. The whole person seemed to be cast under a spell, and he froze there. The look of fear on his face was even stronger than mine. We just stared at each other for several seconds, and no one said anything. The air seemed to be frozen. It was so awkward that it was suffocating. I felt that these few seconds were longer than centuries, and the embarrassment of being embarrassed was simply indescribable. I came to my senses, unasked, stuttering lie, why are you here? How did you my room? The apprentice came to his senses and explained in a panic, Master, I came to deliver documents to you. I knocked on the door, but no one answered. I thought you might be sleeping and the door was not locked, so I wanted to come in, put the documents on the table and leave. As a result, I saw you lying down, and He became more and more incoherent, his face flushed red, so red that blood almost dripped out. When I heard it, I was really angry and amused, and said in shame and annoyance, "Then you can't do this when you come in. Don't you know the difference between men and women?" The apprentice lowered his head, buried his head in his chest, and muttered softly, "Master, I really didn't mean it. I was confused just now, I thought." I really couldn't listen anymore, so I interrupted him quickly. Okay, I'll quickly. The apprentice was as if he had been pardoned, and he rolled and crawled out of my room. After he left, I sat on the bed, still immersed in shock and embarrassment, and couldn't recover for a long time. I never thought that such an outrageous thing would happen to me. This is simply an absurd plot in a TV series. The more I thought about it, the more embarrassed I felt. I wish that time could go back and let all this never happen. After a long time, I recovered a little and began to review the whole thing. I was shocked to realize that I was so careless. First of all, how could I sleep without locking the door? This safety awareness is too weak. Secondly, how could I recognize the wrong person in a half awake state and let those intimate actions happen and do such an embarrassing thing? The more I thought about it, the more annoyed I became, and I felt that I was a complete fool that day. But things have already happened and cannot be changed. What I'm worried about is how to face my apprentice later and how to get along with him in the future. After struggling in the room for a long time, I finally made up my mind to go out and pretend that nothing happened. We are all adults and we should be able to tacitly turn the page on this matter. So I took a deep breath, pretended to be calm, and walked out of the room. The apprentice was sitting awkwardly on the sofa in the living room. When he saw me coming out, he stood up like a spring, not daring to raise his head, just like a child who made a mistake. I pretended to be calm and asked, where's the file? The apprentice pointed to the table and said in a voice as small as a mosquito, "It's there, master." I walked over to pick up the file, took a look, and said, "Okay, I know, you go and do your thing." The apprentice responded, hurriedly picked up his things, and left my house as if he was running for his life. After he left, I collapsed on the sofa inside. This matter was embarrassing, but later I thought about it carefully, and it was actually a bit absurd and funny. Life is always full of unexpected surprises. Maybe this can be considered a different experience. Although it was extremely embarrassing at the time, I feel like I have more things to talk about when I tell you about it now. I just don't know what my apprentice is thinking now, but I guess he must be very embarrassed. I sincerely hope that this incident will not affect our future master-apprentice relationship. Otherwise, I will feel guilty. Family members, do you think my experience is weird enough? If you encounter this, what would you do? Well, today's video ends here. Welcome to Leave a Message to Discuss. We will talk again next time. Bye.